Why is it so hard to get leads? That's the question you may be asking yourself if your pipeline is dry or full of people that are consistently wasting your time. And friend, you are likely overthinking it, but guess what? I am not blaming you because you have a lot of well-meaning coaches and brokers and real estate gurus that are teaching you all of these aggressive, salesy lead generation tactics that make it really weird to just have a regular conversation. So in today's episode, I'm going to break down for you the easy way to generate leads and actually get some quality people in your pipeline. And it's much simpler than you think. And that is simply start having conversations. Now, before you scroll off, listen to me. You want to stay with me here because conversations, like people talking to people, it is actually a lost art. And if you don't believe me, just go to a waiting room at the doctor, waiting to get your food. Even you can observe people in a restaurant having dinner with each other. 9 times out of 10, what are they going to be doing? On their phone and not actually talking to each other. So if you or when you get into the habit of actually being proactive about having conversations with people, I guarantee you that you are going to see a lot of opportunities to get the right people in your database, and it will generate more money for you in 2025. Now, I have so many examples of how this has happened in my business. And when I think about this, I'm thinking of one young lady by the name of Tanisha. So Tanisha and I met at a nail shop. And if you're like me, a lot of times you can go to the nail shop and you can, get engrossed in listening to a book or scrolling social media. But I started to understand that the more conversations that I would have with any and everybody, not only am I going to meet some incredible people, but it actually was going to be more dollars in my bank account. And I'm going to stop there and just put something out there that I've said before. And I just want to make sure that you understand it. Every closing that you have ever seen, right? When you're scrolling social media, you see people standing in front of a house or a realtor walking slow, handing keys to her clients. Every closing started with a conversation. So when you think about the math, right, the more conversations that you have, the greater the chances that you will meet people who can be a link to your next closing. And I think about this young lady, Tanisha, that I met, and I met her at the nail shop. Now, she was getting her nails done. It was actually around Christmas time a couple years ago. And she was getting her nails done this bright, pretty red color, which I love red nails on other people. It don't look good on me. It just looks good on other people to me. So I literally struck up a conversation about how pretty her nail color was. And when you are getting somebody engaged in conversations, what the really skilled real estate agents know how to do is they know how to turn every conversation into a real estate conversation. And since we were at the local nail shop, local to my area, I just asked her simply, where do you live? Do you live around here? From that conversation, I found out that she had just built a home, that she lived a couple miles away. We talked about her new baby that she had and all these different things. We had commonalities with the church that we went to. We didn't know any of the same people, but there were definitely some similarities. And right then and there, I whipped out my phone and I friended her on Facebook. Now, you may be thinking, and I've probably shared this story before, well, she had just bought a house. I don't care. It's about having conversations and connecting with people. And to date, homegirl and her husband have probably sent me 5 or 6 people that I have closed. Okay, so even though I have never closed her yet, that conversation has equated to dollars in my bank account, but more importantly, for real, a really great connection and a really great friendship that has developed. And it all started with because when I was in the nail shop that day, instead of just looking down at my hands and not being social, I decided to have a conversation. So let me give you some tips because like I said, because of what we're taught, all of the, who do you know that would like to buy or sell, or, all of these different tactics that make you come off as sounding salesy and having commission breath, it can become very difficult to just strike up a natural conversation. So let me give you a couple tips of things that I do when I am out and about, and I know that this will help you. So number 1, make eye contact with people, smile, be friendly, because again, we are so engrossed in our cell phones that a lot of us have lost like just even human connection, making eye contact, smiling, and being a friendly and welcoming face. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. Now, this is one thing that I do to start the conversation, because like, go ahead and tell me in comments if like you struggle with, I don't even know what to say, especially when I'm talking to a stranger. And this isn't just strangers. Like, imagine that you're at a Christmas party. Imagine that you are at a work event if you are dual career, or shopping. Like, it could be anywhere you are. This is one way to break down the barrier and to get the other person to talking to you. That is to compliment them. Now, if you remember the story that I told you about Tanisha, our conversation started because I really did like legit admire the red on her nails. And by giving her that compliment, by saying, you know what, that nail color is so pretty on you. It's something that I normally can't pull off, but it looks fantastic. That like broke down any wall that could be there. And it made her warm up to me, and we started to have conversations. So this is what I'm gonna tell you though about being like giving compliments to people, right? Because you can compliment like their kids, you can compliment their outfit, you can compliment their shoes, but be genuine, right? If you absolutely hate, the color brown, and somebody is like brown from head to toe, don't tell them that you love that color. Like, be genuine. And let's just be real. In this world that we live in, it's a cruel world, baby. Like people are just trying real hard to make it from day to day. So there is something about everybody that we can notice and we can compliment. And in addition to it being a conversation starter, it's just good etiquette, right? I know, hit the like button. Does it make you feel good when someone says to you, you know what, I like your lipstick, or your hair is really pretty today, or, you have a beautiful smile? Those compliments go a long way to warm up somebody on the inside. And what you are doing is you're establishing trust. So be genuine, right? Don't just be gaslighting people, but give a real compliment. And that is an open door to have the conversation. Now, when you start talking to them, baby, I need you to listen, okay? And listen for the opportunity to turn that conversation into a real estate conversation. I have said it before. I will say it until I'm blue in the face. The easiest way to do that is to say, where do you live? Do you live around here? Oh, what brings you to the area? Like anything like that, that gets them to talk about like why they are in the area that you are in, or if you're in a party, you can ask them straight up like where they live. That turns it into a real estate conversation. And my comeback always, I literally was at a Christmas party last night. I was talking to a young lady, like we are just all talking about how we know the host. And when I shared, how I knew the host, I asked them if they live in the area. They told me, oh yeah, we live up the street in McKinney. I went a little deeper. Oh, what neighborhood is that? And when they told me the name of the neighborhood, I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, I have a client who moved to that neighborhood. Like, you're right by the Costco? Yeah. I have a client who moved to that neighborhood like 3 or 4 years ago. She absolutely loves it, but I doubt that you know her because like she's such a homebody. She doesn't come out that much, but how do you like it, right? And we got into a whole conversation, right? Because these people, their kid, like you see how much information I know from this conversation. Their kids, one of them just went to college. The other two, one is a senior, one is a freshman. They're making decisions on exactly what might make sense for them to do with the house. I left that conversation with their information. Now, do I think they're going to buy tomorrow? No. But I have an opportunity to connect with them on social media, to follow up and give them a home equity report, to follow up and just be a resource, to put them in my ecosystem, right? And that all started because of a conversation. So might they buy tomorrow? Like, they didn't give me any indication that they will do that. But by having a conversation with them, I'm going to have an opportunity to provide them value for their own home purchasing needs. And then also perhaps get in front of them. So if they ever know somebody who is looking for a real estate agent, like Rosemary will be top of mind. And it started from a conversation. So you got to know how, once you're in the conversation, how to turn it into a real estate conversation. And then here's the last thing too. When you're talking to people, a lot of times we are talking and listening to respond and not necessarily listening to provide some sort of value, right? To actually hear what the people are saying. And this is a big challenge with many people when you become a real estate agent, when you are looking for these organic opportunities to get more leads in your pipeline. If you are not good at listening and finding those different places where we can provide some value, you will be jacked up. So I'll give you an example. Like, this is what I mean, because I know people say provide value all the time. But let's pretend that I am in a conversation with somebody. And in that conversation, I find that they are very new to the area, and this will be their first Christmas away from home, right? This is their first Christmas in Texas. That's an opportunity for me to say, oh my gosh, first Christmas away from home. Have you ever been to the lighting of the Christmas tree at the Gaylord? It is absolutely fabulous. Or, oh, what are y'all doing for Christmas dinner? Because such and such does these catering boxes. Or, if I feel inclined to it, am I going to invite them into something that we're doing? Now, they might not even, take me up on any of the opportunities, or some of the things that I may be suggesting may or may not be up their wheelhouse, but I am actively listening and looking to become a resource before I ever ask them for information or anything like that. And when you're doing a good job of becoming a resource, right? Like, I've had some conversations where I can hear someone saying, oh yeah, we live in such and such place. We love it here. We never gonna move, but we're thinking about putting in a pool. Oh, okay, you're thinking about putting in a pool? What's your phone number? Let me text you over the information from my pool guy. He is absolutely amazing. He did our pool. Let me show you the pictures, right? When you listen to see exactly like what problems the person has, and you can position yourself as a solution, again, this conversation has allowed you to build trust with them. And as you build trust, when it is time for them to make a move with real estate, you will be the person that it's better to initiate the conversation in the nail shop than to never look up and never have the opportunity. And this is the last thing, and I've already kind of mentioned it, but when you are in these conversations, listen, find the opportunity, like you be the one to reach to figure out how we can continue this interaction. So when I think about Tanisha, like, I didn't straight up ask her for her phone number while we were getting our nails done, but I friended her on Facebook right there. If it's somebody who mentions something, they need a handyman, or they're curious about the school up the street, or you want to text them the information to your church, when you get their phone number, you can text them whatever that information, that value is. Now you have a way to follow up. It was so great to meet you at the party. Would love to stay connected. So find a way after you have that initial conversation, like, how are you going to put them for real in your database? And the easiest way is social media, but if you can get a direct phone number from them, that is going to be the biggest goal. Now, friend, this is just a peek. If you want to go a little bit further on exactly where you can go to get leads now for free 99, I am actually doing a webinar that you can sign up for, rosemarylewis.com/2025, where I'm going to break down 5 free ways to get leads now in your database. And speaking of that, in the next video, let's talk about actually getting some quality leads, because it's one thing to start a conversation, but it's another thing not to fill your pipeline with people who will waste your time. So make sure that you check out the next video.